Hello, everyone, and welcome back to today's podcast, where today I figured we'd talk about the exact same stuff that we usually do during this podcast, which we've only talked about maybe once. So today, I figured that I'd have a different setup. You could actually see the screen. Maybe I could pull up a few pictures of what everything looks like. I did do a podcast with another friend of mine, Ghostboy1001. I'll say it again, Ghostboy1001. Good friend of mine. We did a podcast together. We recorded it. I'm still waiting on it to be sent through the email. Ghostboy, swear to God, bro, people are waiting. They are. They're waiting on the video. I'm calling you out, bro. I know. We're both basically working the exact same hours, so it's a bit difficult to be able to find that happy median where we could sit here and record and just kind of like have fun. But we only recorded one video, and we're having fun with it. I swear, we had fun with it. We recorded it once. I recorded something for him. If you want to go see it, check it out when it comes out. He hasn't even told me when it comes out yet. Josh, what the hell, man? But even, I guess he doesn't even know what it is, so I can't really say much. I recorded something for him. I won't say what it is because obviously it's a secret. But if you want to go figure out what it is, go find his channel. I can't edit right now. I have to get some editing software for it. But today, I figured we'd talk about some haunted stuff over in the UK. I went ahead and looked up a couple of castles, looked up when they were built, what they were, just some websites, mostly Wikipedia. Either way, I'll still be able to put them out. I'll still be able to go over the haunted history, but this time you'll be able to see from like your point of view, my point of view, just kind of what we're going to be talking about, you know? Because I'm a cool guy. I feel like you deserve to figure out what I'm talking about. And right now, because I don't have editing software, we're going to have to do it the old-fashioned way where I basically put up all the pictures in front of the camera. So you'll have to live with and bear with me through this trying time. Let's get into the podcast. So today, I figured we are going to talk about Whitbey Abbey and St. Briavel's Castle, which seems pretty fun. I basically looked up some haunted castles in the UK because I don't really know of any other places that have castles besides Ireland, Scotland. Well, I suppose Russia's got some. Japan, China. I know India's got some temples. Other than that, well, I guess everywhere's got some type of palace or temple that they can go to, they could pray at, or it's just completely haunted and deserted that they just don't want the public to know about. Or just the public doesn't want to go near it. So, yay. I'm going to bring all those to light. Maybe. I'm not going to bring them to light. Obviously, people know about them. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to look them up. So, I figure Whitbey Abbey would be our first choice. As you can see, looks like an old, like, kind of like, just from the look of it. Okay, look at this. Hold on, let me, hopefully I can sit there. There we go. From the looks of it, it looks like an old church. Let me make sure. I want to be sure that you guys can see it. So maybe I darken the screen a tad. Maybe. Hopefully you can see that. But it basically looks like an old church, which is super cool. Hopefully you guys can see it. If not, it's basically take, I guess, I don't want to say Notre Dame, but take a cathedral and just like take off the top half and take off like the back of it, and basically it's what it looks like. But I looked it up on Haunted Castles and it appeared. So apparently it was a castle at some point, so that's cool. We're going to read about it now. Looks super cool. Whitbey Abbey was a 7th century Christian monastery. So I was right. It was a whole, I should say, holy place, which is cool. That later became a Benedictine abbey. The abbey church was situated overlooking the North Sea on the east cliff above Whitby in North Yorkshire, England. That's cool. A center, I don't understand how you say it. I think it's center, of the medieval Northumbrian kingdom. People in the UK, please don't get mad at me for reading this. It's just how I read it. I have to sound it out, otherwise it doesn't make any sense. I know the first bit. Just don't give me a bunch of hate for it. I'm trying my best. I'm running on very little sleep at the moment, and this is the only time I get to record this. So, you're basically stuck with this. The abbey and its possessions were confiscated by the crown under Henry VIII during the dissolution of the monasteries between 1536 and 1545. Desolation? That's not how you spell it, but I suppose it has the same meaning. Maybe. Since that time, the ruins of the abbey have continued to be used by sailors as a landmark at the headland since the 20th century. The substantial ruins of the church have been declared a Grade 1 listed building and are in the care of English Heritage. The site museum is housed in Cholmeley House. Cholmeley? I don't know what that's called, but okay. Strion's Howl. Huh. The first monastery was founded in 657 AD by the Anglo-Saxon era king of Northumbria, Oswiu, as Strion's Hall, the older name for Whitby. That's cool. He appointed Lady Hilda, abbess of Hartlepool Abbey, and grandniece of Edwin, the first Christian king of Northumbria. Northumbria? I'm going to say Northumbria. I want to say Northumbria. Help me out. It's Northumbria. As found... Okay. This is very difficult to read. Why did I choose Wikipedia for this? let's find something a bit more easy to read. We'll look up Whitby Abbey again. And we'll go to English Heritage, because that seems the most responsible thing to do. Oops. Whitby Abbey has been inspiring visitors for nearly 1,500 years. Now it's your turn. Oh, that's bull. It's a bunch of boo-hock. Why would you make a Whitby... Wait, did I read that right? Whitby Abbey, English Heritage. Why would you name it that? Oh, here we go. My bad. I'm sorry. I apologize. I apologize. The mic cord has gone over the speaker cord has gone over the computer, so I had to move it. History of Whitby Abbey. The ruins of Whitby Abbey are among the most celebrated sites of North Yorkshire. The first monastery here, founded in about 657, became one of the most important religious centers in the Anglo-Saxon world. In 1664, it was the setting for the Synod of Whitby, a landmark in the history of the church in England. The headland is now dominated by the shell of the 13th century church of the Benedictine Abbey, founded after the Norman conquest. And then it talks about Whitby. Sure, why not? Recent excavations have shown that the Whitby headland was settled during the late Bronze Age. A roundhouse within a ditched enclosure was found near the cliff edge, and a number of objects dating to the period have been recovered. The Whitby headland may have been occupied by a Roman signal station in the 3rd century AD, as it is midway between known stations at Goldsborough and Ravenscar, and is in a strategic position at the mouth of the River Esk. If so, the site of the signal station has probably long since fallen into the sea, as the cliffs here have eroded steadily. That's pretty cool. So before Whitby Abbey, to think that before Whitby Abbey and before the town there was a signal station for the Romans, is that what it said? Yes, the Romans here, which is interesting. So that's pretty cool. I can't I have to show more enthusiasm, but at this time I'm just trying to process all of this, so it's interesting. Angeline Whitby. Following the collapse of Roman rule, Britain fragmented into a number of small kingdoms, and by the 7th century, Northumbria, roughly covering what is now Northumberland and Yorkshire, was the most powerful of the Anglo-Saxon kingdoms. In the 7th and 8th centuries, the headland of Whitby was occupied by a large Angeline community. What is this? How do you say this? Can I click on this and be like, what is this? How do you say? I can't look that up. Anyway, Angeline community, together with the celebrated monastery for both monks and nuns. Excavations here have revealed much evidence of Angeline life, including large quantities of pottery, household goods, and fine metal objects. There are two main sources for the history of Strians Hall, probably meaning Strians Headland, as it was then known. These are the I don't even know. History of the English people, completed about 731 by the Venerable Bede, a monk from St. Paul's Monastery at Jarrow on the Tyne, and a life of Pope Gregory the Great by an anonymous monk of whatever Strians Hall is. In 627, the Anglican king of Northumbria, Edwin, converted to Christianity and was baptized by the Roman missionary Saint Paulinus. Paulinus? Yes. The monastery at Stellan's Hall was... Stellan's Hall. Oh my god. Strians Hall was founded in about 657 by Hild, daughter of an Anglican nobleman, with the support of Oswiu, then ruler of Anglian Northumbria. Strians Hall seems to have been of particular importance to the Northumbria royal family. My god, my brain is not working right now. Northumbrian royal family, as a number of its members were buried there. It was during Hild's rule that the layman something lived at Strians Hall, the first named poet in the English language. Can I click on this and figure out... Caedmon? Caedmon. I don't know. It's Caedmon. Whitbey and early English poetry. Cool. That's cool. I didn't know that. I'll you know what? I'm gonna do this. Hold on. I'm doing something. Hold on. Here we go. Hold on. I got the... Hold on. There we go. Okay. So now I click on... Yep, there it is. Cool. I'll read about that during the next podcast. Yeah. The Synod of Whitbey. Abandonment and Norman... Okay. Do I really want to read this whole freaking thing? I kind of do, but at the same time, I don't. But at the same time, I ain't got much of a choice. I do have a choice. I just, I'm only 18 minutes in. I've got time. The Synod of Whitby. The documentary sources only give a limited account of Strians Hall's history, but the most important event, the Synod of Whitby in 664, was described in some detail by Bede. Here, the rivalry between the two strands of Christianity in England, the Celtic and the Roman, came to a head. I like the Celtic one. I'm not too... I gotta reread the Roman one. But I know Celtic. Celtic's pretty... I can't describe it to you right now. I'll talk about it later. Anyway, I like Celtic. For those of you who don't know, I am part Irish on my mom's side. So, yeah, I have all sorts of Celtic things like this. I don't know if you wanted to see that or not. Hold on. I'll hold that up. There we go. It's a Celtic wolf. I hope you can see that. Hold on. Focus. but it's a Celtic wolf ring. I bought this at a Highland festival, and I wear it constantly. So it's pretty fun. I wear it along with my class ring, which at some point I'll show you when I feel more comfortable about showing you that kind of stuff. But at the moment, it'll be in the back of our minds, so don't ask. Christianity had been brought to Northumbria not only by missionaries from Rome, but by Celtic missionaries from Loan in Scotland. Why did I say it like that? Scotland. I've been watching too many of those. The two traditions differed over such issues as how priests and monks should dress and wear their hair, and most notably how the day of Easter should be calculated. Eventually, King Oswiu decided that the Roman side should prevail, and the Pope's authority was gradually established over the Church in the British Isle. Yeah, of course. Yeah, okay. Abandonment and Norman renewal. The Anglican town and monastery were abandoned at the same point in the 9th century. We do not know exactly when or how this happened, but it was probably as a result of raids by Vikings from Denmark, followed by permanent Danish settlement. By the time of the Norman conquest in 1066, the headland seems to have been abandoned, although there was a substantial town called Whitbey down by the harbor. In about 1078, a monk called Rienfrid founded a new monistic community at Whitby. At a very early stage in its history, this community split, and the two parts each developed into a fully pledged Benedictine monastery, one on the headland at Whitby and the other at St. Mary's Abbey, York. The Benedict monastery initially probably had timber buildings or reused the Angeline ruins on the headland. About 1100, a stone church. About 1100, a stone church and conventual buildings were built in the Romanesque style, as well as large parish church close by. People, I'm sorry, I can't frickin' read. I'm trying my best. Either way, it goes over. I'm going to skip past most of this. Even though it's cool, I am getting kind of tired of trying to figure out what everything is. I'll have to read this on my spare time. If you want to check it out, it is called Whitby Abbey. Whitby, Abbey, which is Abbey. Super cool play. I'm going to go over the haunted history, hopefully. Let's check that out. Haunted history. And the first thing I saw was Dracula, so that'll be cool. Spooky Isles is what the thing called. The Spooky Isles. Whitby Abbey, an essential guide to its hauntings. Got me good. I don't want to know. First abbesses, the walled up oh. Okay. History of Whitby Abbey. We did that. Mm, yep. Okay. Hauntings of Whitby Abbey. Whitby Abbey has become a popular tourist attraction in North Yorkshire for those who have an interest in history and architecture, but a history of hauntings as well. The ghosts of Whitby Abbey carefully watch the living with curious dead eyes and manifest when the living least expect it. And that is a really cool picture of it as old. I didn't copy text, but okay, cool. The first the first abbess, Abbess. Considering its long history of hauntings, it's only fitting that Hilda, the first abbess, haunts the building. On dark nights when the wind blows from the sea, Hilda appears in the highest window on the north side of the abbey. She only manifests for a few moments, forlornly, okay, gazing out the window and vanishes. Cool. The walled-up nun. Hilda isn't the only former bride of Christ that haunts the ruins of the Abbey. According to legend, Constance de Beverley, a young nun, broke her vow of celibacy when she carried on a secret affair with a young knight. When her indiscretion was revealed, Constance was walled up alive in the abbey by her sisters in Christ. Visitors to the abbey have reported the eerie screams of a woman in agony being carried on the breeze. Others have reported witnessing the fleeting image of a young woman running through the abbey. It's believed the phantom of Constance de Beverley is attempting to flee her captors before judgment was carried out. The guardian of the lost treasure. Ever since the abbey was closed, there have been rumors of a vast treasure buried somewhere on the grounds, a rumor that has brought many treasure hunters to the abbey's front door. One of these treasure hunters learned the hard way that the treasure has a guardian. A number of years ago, a local minister and his daughter went to the ruin late one night with the shovel in hand and avarice in their hearts. Avarice? Avarice. Avarice. I don't know. While digging, the daughter felt a tap on her shoulder. Believing it was her father, she turned to look, and a horrifying sight met her eyes. She let out a blood-curdling shriek of fear and fainted dead away. When her father discovered her, she was just coming to, and a crazed look filled her eyes. When she regained her senses, she told her father that she saw a towering, headless apparition commanding her to leave or die. Since that night, all searches for the treasure has all but ceased, and understandably, so no one wants to anger the treasure's eldritch guardian. That's cool. Whitby Abbey is open to the public and is a popular destination for locals as well as international tourists. Oh, and it just says that. So there's only like 3 ghosts that haunt the Abbey, which I highly doubt, because if it says that it was... Oh! Here we go. Hold on, I missed something. Overlooking the North Sea. Yep, okay. The 7th century Christian monastery, a grade 1 listed building, is a... Yep, I did that. The impressive example of early... Okay. Apart from being home to 3 terrifying specters dating back to Saxon times, the eerie setting of the ruined abbey inspired Bram Stoker to pen his immortal novel of horror, Dracula. Cool. I've never read that book, so cool. I'll say cool. Let's see if I can't find anything else. Five Haunting Tales of Whitbey. I believe in ghosts, but if I don't see them, it makes it's whatever. Uh okay, so I'm not going over Whitby Abbey, I'm going over Whitby itself. So I don't see why not. Stories of Whitby ghosts. The Oyster Man of Whitby. Oysters might not be a delicacy, but they used to be incredibly popular in most towns around the UK. The Oyster Man was a familiar figure wandering the streets offering his oysters to the locals. Whitby's Oyster Man has a very sorry tale and can still be heard peddling his oysters on the cobbled streets. Before his death, the Oyster Man would go from pub to pub showing oysters alive ho to attract attention for his wares. One night, a group of rowdy men called him into the Golden Lion and began insulting him. The Oyster Man knew he'd make no sales there and turned to leave, muttering a quiet oath as he went. Unfortunately for him, one of the men heard and couldn't bear to be insulted. He snatched the oyster basket and threw it onto the fire. He grabbed the Oyster Man and threatened to chuck him into the flames as well. The Oyster Man was terrified. Though he was small, he pulled out the tiny blade he carried for opening oysters and stabbed his captor. To everyone's surprise, the Oyster Man delivered a killing blow, accidentally striking the man's heart. Though not found guilty of murder in his trial, the Oyster Man never forgave himself for what he had done. He continued to sell his oysters in Whitby town, always avoiding the Golden Lion. But his cries of oysters alive ho was forever changed. His guilt ate at him, and within a year he died of his remorse. On quiet nights, make sure you listen out for his reedy cry as you make your way back home. Just make sure you don't insult him. See, that made me cry on the inside because the guy was just trying to sell oysters. And a guy just so happened to be so drunk, he took his mutters as an insult. It's saddening, but the Oysterman shouldn't feel guilty for defending himself. But I suppose that this was like 1800s, maybe 1700s, 1800s, maybe even 1900s. Who knows? But it didn't tell me, so he shouldn't feel too bad. Oysterman, I'm a pray for you tonight before I go to bed. And I just want you to know, if you're listening to me right now, which I highly doubt because you're all the way in Whitby, if you're listening now, you are not to blame for anything. Okay, obviously the man was drunk. You defended yourself. Okay, man. Don't blame yourself. Okay? Shit happens. Anyway, I'm gonna move on because now I'm hot. I'm not cold. I'm hot, sexy. Anyway, a brave lighthouse keeper. Okay. If you take a walk along West Pier at night, you might catch a sight of a brave lighthouse keeper who gave his life trying to protect Whitby sailors. Years ago in a dreadful storm, the lighthouse keeper noticed his lighthouse wasn't working. People out at sea would have no idea how close they were to the harbor, and the crashing waves were making it nearly impossible to steer. The lighthouse keeper set off to do his job, getting battered and blown around by the wind and rain. As he climbed up to turn the light back on, rainwater dripped off him onto the staircase, making them incredibly dangerous. As he made his way back down the stairs, he slipped. By the time he hit the floor by the entrance, he was dead. Oh, that sucks. See, that guy wasn't even doing anything wrong. So I don't know why he'd be haunting the lighthouse. I suppose it's a traumatic event. Nobody wants to go through that, but unfortunately, the worst happens to the best of us. Which is a lot to say, just given the circumstances. But many visitors to the lighthouse have... Yep, I've seen... Yep, okay. Oh, have seen his ghostly body spread across the floor. However, it's more common to spot the lighthouse keeper making his hurried journey up the pier, unknowingly heading for his own demise. Yeah. Okay. The Phantom Coach. Okay. Have you ever been to the top of our famous 199 steps after dark? If you do, the story tells that you're likely to have a run-in with the Phantom Coach that haunts the ground outside of St. Mary's Church. Standing in the churchyard on cold, clear nights, you're likely to hear the sounds of horses running in the distance. If you turn towards the Abbey, you might see a ghostly horse and carriage barreling towards you. The driver will be frantically whipping the horses to make them run even faster. Barely visible figures will stop the carriage right outside the entrance of the church. The horses will rear on their hind legs before disappearing from sight. We don't know why this carriage desperately makes its way to the church, who it's expecting to collect, or why it's doomed to repeat that night ride to the doors. Huh. I've only got 2 more stories, and then I'm going to move on to the next castle. The landlady of the White Horse and Griffin. Have you been to the White Horse and Griffin? It's now a delightful pub in the center of town, but in the 19th century it was run by a very cruel woman. She would judge her customers with just a look, and if she took a dislike to them, she could be incredibly unpleasant. One night, as she was walking down the outside steps, she slipped. As she hit the ground, she cracked her head and suffered a slow death alone on the cobbles. Sorry. So if you've popped in for a pint or two and start to feel uncomfortable or uneasy, the old landlady has taken a dislike to you. Okay. Well, whatever. I'd totally pop in for a pint if I were old enough. Anyway, the ghost of Grape Lane. Should you ever find yourself walking along Grape Lane at night, keep your eyes peeled for the ghost that haunts there. A young girl was running an errand for her father that brought her to the bakery that used to operate on Grape Lane. The friendly baker recognized the girl from the town and welcomed her in and invited her to place an item in the oven for herself. The baker turned his back for only a moment before he heard a horrific scream. He turned to find the girl engulfed in flames. Ugh. as her hair had caught alight as she reached into the oven. Working as quickly as he could, he beat the flames from the girl, but it was too little too late. She died from her injuries in the local infirmary. Today her ghost haunts the street. She appears in front of people walking the lane covered in flames. People have even reported the scent of burning hair long after the girl disappears. Hmm. Cool. I've always wanted a hothead. Anyway. Oh no. Okay. I'm gonna save this one for a podcast. 'Cause I guarantee there's more. Anywho. Mr. Abbey, thank you for your time. We are going to move on to St. Briavel's Castle, which is also on Wikipedia. So I'm going to look up something else. See? Because I seem to have a better time. Oops. No. I don't want places to visit. I just want to see what the heritage is. Okay. Well, this one says England's most haunted castle. All right. What is it even? Oh. Okay. Well, I'm going to show you what it looks like. I guess I can't, so never mind. We'll look it up on a different page. Here we go. Okay. We'll give you. I'll give you this one. Why are they so small? Why can't they just be big? Seriously. I'm trying to show you guys a full freaking image and it won't let me. It won't freaking just be a big picture. No, it wants to be a little picture. Anyway, I will show you a picture of it as soon as I can. St. Briavel's Castle is a magnet for oh, well, that's not what I wanted, but fucking. Okay. We'll click on this one. We'll read the history a little bit for what is on this page. Built in the early 12th century, St. Briavel's was an important royal castle on the frontier with Wales and the administrative and judicial center of the Forest of Dean, a royal hunting ground where the game was protected and the king alone allowed to hunt. Edward I added a fine twin-towered gatehouse to St. Briavel's in 1292. During his reign, the castle was a crossbow bolt factory using local Forest of Dean iron to produce weapons for his campaigns against the Welsh and Scots. After the conquest of Wales, the gatehouse became a debtor's prison, and the castle is now a youth hostel set in a wonderful walking country. Cool. So very brief history, which is fine because that's cool. I wish I knew a little bit more and could understand how it's haunted, but given the facts that I was just given, yeah, it kind of makes sense on why it's haunted. Supposedly haunted. Apparently it is open. Or no, apparently it's closed. So, at the moment. It'll open at 1 p.m. Cool. uh, uh, my head is killing me right now. Atlas Obscura. This Norman castle, frequented by the infamous King John, is now a youth hostel. You'll have to forgive me, I don't know what a youth hostel is. So I will look it up afterward. Haunted history. Dun. This is not what I want. No, shut up. Sure. Oh, it's Spooky Owls again. Cool. Hi, guys. Thank you for helping me out, I suppose. St. Briavel's Castle Hostel in Lydney, Gloucestershire. Gloucestershire? Gloucestershire in the southwest of England is considered to be one of the oldest counties in Great Britain. Perhaps due to this long history, there are many haunted places to explore. St. Briavel's Castle is a hostel in Lydney may just be the most haunted of all. St. Briavel's Castle, the history of a haunted hostel. Built in 1075, a Norman castle, St. Briavel's, was originally used as the administrative office for the Forest of Dean. We know that. King John occupied the castle and held court there in the early years of the 13th century. Throughout the next 2 centuries, the castle transformed in ownership between several noble families. In the 18th and 19th centuries, it was used as a debtor's prison. However, it had to close down after several riots due to the poor conditions and horrible treatment of inmates. The castle sat empty for well over a century until 1948 when it reopened its doors as a hostel. That's when stories of vengeful wraths and restless spirits filtered out from the castle. The dead outnumber the living. Since opening its doors as a hostel, the castle has become a popular destination for ghost hunters and people looking for a cheap bed to sleep in. Several rooms in St. Briavel's has a ghost, sometimes more than one. Guests in the solar room have reported the sound of a baby crying at night. When the castle was recently renovated, workers made a shocking discovery. A corpse of an infant was found in the rafters. The child, who had been dead for centuries, was given a proper burial. A knight in shining armor has been glimpsed by the keen eyes of guests in the former castle keep area. He vanishes as soon as he's seen. The Hangman's Room, the scene of unnerving encounters. Unsurprisingly, the Hangman's Room has been the scene of several unnerving encounters. A large black mass has appeared in the doorway barring people people from leaving. Several people who have tried to get past the mass have found themselves violently pushed to the ground. In the old debtor's prison, guests have reported the hushed tones of unseen people talking. Others have reported footsteps and the feeling of a rough, strong hand grasping their arm. Cool. Visitors to the chaplain's room have reported nightmarish experiences. Sinister dark shadows are seen wandering the room, accompanied by unexplained flashes of light. Guests have further reported an unseen person sitting on their beds, leaving an impression on the mattress. In the constable's room, guests have reported feelings of the lightheadedness and hands on their throats. The porter's lodge is home to a mist that manifests in front of the fireplace and hangs in the air. One male guest reported being pinned to his bed and being unable to move. Sounds like sleep. What is that called? Insomnia? No, that's being unable to sleep. What is it called? Whoa. Uh, what's it called? It's, I don't remember what it's called. Beware the scary bed. The scary bed occupies the oubliette. It's called this because several guests have reported the blankets yanked off them as they sleep and thrown across the room. Lastly, in the state apartment, guests have reported footsteps by their beds as they sleep. An apparition of a little girl dressed in white is seen standing in the corridor, and another shadow entity is seen walking across the room. With all this ghostly activity, it's little wonder why this hostel is so popular for guests and ghost hunters alike. As a hostel, St. Briavel's Castle offers reasonably priced beds and facilities, and I warn you, stay there if you dare. Will do, my good man, will do. What time? We're almost at an hour. We're almost at an hour. God. I'm saying a lot. Simply because I don't know what to talk about now. I could always look up something else about St. Briavel's Church, I suppose. St. Briavel's Castle, I mean, my bad. Most haunted castle in all of England. Not in all of England, just in England. Why does Amazon have a thing on St. Briavel's? Yeah, okay. Sure, we'll go over the haunted rooms. Why not? Brief history. Solar room, castle keep, hanging room, prison, chaplain's room, constable's room, porter's lodge, oubliette, state apartment. Oh, well, we went over those. Cool. Fun. Fucking... Just let me talk about that again. So easiest one there, I suppose. Which is saying a lot. But I guess I'll cut this podcast short. Simply because I'm running on fumes and I have some TikToks to make before I go to bed. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked it, please hit the like button. Comment down below if you want me to look up something, research its history, research the haunted bit, and yeah, just hit me up. I'll leave you the TikTok info down below, and I suppose I'll see you later. So yeah, laters.